Thank you for joining StratFlow for part 1 of our Dual Operating System for Digitization and Automation series. In this video, we will look at the obstacles to implementing new technology. My name is Hendrik Lorenz and I'm StratFlow's owner. In the overview session, we mentioned that management and culture may be obstacles in the implementation of new technology. One definition of culture is the way we do things around here. It is supported by what we measure, what we reward, of course, and there's no doubt that some cultures, business cultures, are better than others in implementing new ideas. Problems with interdepartmental trust and cooperation frequently surface and stop change initiatives dead. But how do we change the culture? Do we initiate a culture change program? Do we get a psychologist in so that everyone learns to play nice? Do we work on values? Now these may help, but as a former physicist, I like John Seddon's proposal more. John Seddon says, forget your people. Real leaders act on the system. Real leaders redesign the system to meet demand. When leaders act on the system, customers cheer, costs fall, and the culture change comes free. So we'll shortly go into more detail around these issues. Effective implementation and use of technology can also be blocked by a stop-start flow of work through operations. This would suck in all of the resources around and leave very little to deal with the new issues as they crop up. Another possibility is that the organization is not agile enough to adjust to sudden changes in the environment. We saw some of this happen during the COVID pandemic. On this page, you can see typical issues as reported by project managers running digitization projects in large organizations. Now, you can read faster through this than I can talk, but as you go through, you will see that much of it deals with not knowing upfront what the exact nature of the problem is that we are trying to solve. Remember, we mentioned wicked problems and its characteristics before. One of them was that understanding the problem is similar to solving it. And from reading, you just saw that no one is quite sure where or what the crucial data is. Every time we attempt to solve the problem, we change its nature. And we're not sure if we're dealing with a problem or a symptom. We also can't judge how good our solution or team has performed. So it should be clear that traditional project change management interventions, where we specify upfront what's required and how we will run the project and get the change to happen, have a high probability of failure. It can be no different. Planners in the project design stage are stressed by their limit in understanding what the new technological system is capable of, and therefore what needs to be adapted in the bigger, complex adaptive system. Frequently, the project overloads the management of the departments involved, such that they resist implementation or they start doing the bare minimum they can to get away with. New technology implementation inevitably involves short-term setbacks, where the operations and cash flow can get impacted. If the organization does not have protective capacity in the system, this will inhibit innovation and the adjustments needed to make the project work. There is resistance to the new way of working that's required, especially if the measurements and reward systems have not been adjusted. And given all the uncertainty we just mentioned, how should we adjust these measurements and rewards? Is there a better way of doing all of this? For automation, we have the following problems reported. In the process, before we automate, we need to understand our processes. Where are the delays occurring? Are there areas where quality is problematic? This includes having the process in question documented. For stakeholders, automation, of course, will affect most departments in their decisions and in their day-to-day operations. What training will be required? What does sales have to say? Because the more stakeholders we have involved, the better our decisions will be. For bottlenecks, if we have bottlenecks in our process or areas where quality defects are introduced, these would be the prime areas to improve delivery to customers. Unclear goals. Are we trying to increase speed at a bottleneck to reduce lead times? Or are we trying to cope with growing orders? Or are we just wanting to fix quality issues? The goal here will make a very big difference to the type of implementation that we start. On buy-in, Will those involved experience this as a headcount reduction exercise or an opportunity to grow the business? And then finally, automating wrong areas. Getting a machine that can do more per running time does not help the bottom line if it's not a bottleneck area. It just becomes a machine that runs less of the time.